Hello friends, I'm Shaurya Mishra. Welcome you to your own YouTube channel, Vision Care Advisor. Friends, I have come with new one-liner series in ophthalmology and it is part 4. In this video, I have covered all the normal values in ophthalmology that will help you to solve any type of MCQs in your exam. Friends, I have taken these one-liners from A.K. Khurana Ophthalmology book and Parson Disease of the Eye 23rd edition. This is a rapid-fire, most important one-liner series that have covered more than 121 most important one-liner series. So, without taking much time, let's get started. Anteroposterior diameter of an adult eyeball is 24 mm. Anteroposterior diameter of an eyeball at birth is 16.5 mm. Axial length of an eyeball at the age of 3 is 23 mm. Horizontal means laterally. Horizontal diameter of an adult eyeball is 23.5 mm. Vertical diameter of an adult eyeball is 23.0 mm. Circumference of an adult eyeball is 75 mm. Volume of an adult eyeball is 6.5 mm. Weight of an adult eyeball is 7 gram. Anteriorly, horizontal diameter of the cornea is 11.75 mm. Anteriorly, vertical diameter of the cornea is 11 mm. Posterior diameter of the cornea is 11.5 mm. Thickness of the cornea at the periphery is 0.67 mm. Thickness of the cornea at the center is 0.52 mm. Anterior radius of curvature of central cornea is 7.8 mm. Posteriorly, radius of curvature of the central cornea is 6.5 mm. Refractive index of the cornea is 1.376. Refractive power of anterior surface of cornea is about plus 48 diopter. Refractive power of posterior surface of cornea is minus 5 diopter. Total refractive power of the cornea is plus 43 diopter. Thickness of the corneal epithelium is 50 micrometer, that would be 8% of the corneal thickness. Thickness of the corneal Bowman's layer is 12 micrometer, that would be 2% of the corneal thickness. Thickness of the corneal stroma is 500 micrometer, that would be 90% of the corneal thickness. Thickness of the corneal Descemet membrane is 7 micrometer, that would be 1% of the corneal thickness. Thickness of the corneal endothelium is 5 micrometer, that would be 1% of the corneal thickness. Corneal endothelial cells density at birth is 6000 per millimeter square. Corneal endothelial cells density in young adult is 2400 to 3000 per millimeter square. Thickness of the sclera at limbus is 0.8 mm. Thickness of sclera at interior to the rectus muscle insertion is 0.6 mm. Thickness of sclera at posterior to the rectus muscle insertion is 0.3 mm. Thickness of sclera at the equator is 0.5 to 0.8 mm. Thickness of sclera at the posterior pole is 1 mm and it is the thickest part of the sclera. Equatorial diameter of the crystalline lens at birth is 6.5 mm. Equatorial diameter of the lens for an adult eyeball is 9 to 10 mm. Thickness of the crystalline lens at birth is 3.5 mm. Thickness of the crystalline lens at extreme of the edge is 5 mm. Weight of the crystalline lens varies from 135 mg to 255 mg. Radius of curvature of anterior surface of the crystalline lens without accommodation is 10 mm. Radius of curvature of anterior surface of the crystalline lens with accommodation is 6 mm. Radius of curvature of posterior surface of the crystalline lens is 6 mm. An average refractive index of the crystalline lens is 1.39. Refractive index of the crystalline lens at the nucleus is 1.41 and at the cortex is 1.38. Total dioptric power of the crystalline lens is 50 into 16 diopter. Accommodation power of the crystalline lens at birth is 40 into 16 diopter. Accommodation power of the crystalline lens at the age of 25 years is 7 to 8 diopter. Accommodation power of the crystalline lens at the age of 50 years is 1 to 2 diopter. As we know, in an emmetropic eye, far point is infinity and near point varies with age, such as near point at the age of 10 years is 7 cm. Near point at the age of 30 years is 14 cm. Near point at the age of 40 years is 25 cm. Near point at the age of 45 years is 33 cm. Central depth of anterior chamber is 3 mm. Volume of aqueous humor in anterior chamber is 0.25 mm. Volume of aqueous humor in posterior chamber 0.06 ml. Rate of formation of aqueous humor is 2.3 ml per minute. Refractive index of aqueous humor is 1.336. pH of aqueous humor in anterior chamber is 7.2 HD. Normal range of intraocular pressure is 11 mm mercury to 21 mm mercury. Weight of vitreous humor is 4 gram. Volume of vitreous humor is 4 ml. Refractive index of the vitreous humor is 1.33. Thickness of the retina at the posterior pole is 0.56 mm, that is thickest at peripapillary region. Thickness of the retina at ora serrata is 0.1 mm, that is thinnest part of the retina. Equator of the retina is 0.18 mm to 0.2 mm. Diameter of the optic disc is 1 disc diopter, that is 1.5 mm. Diameter of macula lutea is 5.5 mm, that gives 15 degrees of visual field. Fovea centralis is the central depressed part of the macula that is about 1.5 mm in diameter, which gives 5 degrees of visual field. Foveola contains only cones that gives highest visual acuity and its diameter is 0.3 mm, that is situated about 2 disc diopter, means 3 mm away from the temporal margin of the disc. Including foveola and its surrounding area about 0.8 mm in diameter does not contain any retinal capillaries, that is called foveal avascular zone FAZ. Thickness of ora serrata nasally 0.7 mm to 0.8 mm. Thickness of ora serrata temporally 2.1 mm. Nasally, distance of ora serrata from limbus is 6 mm. Temporarily, distance of ora serrata from limbus is 7 mm. Total number of rods is 120 millions. Total number of cones is 6.5 millions. Length of cone cells in fovea is 80 mm. Total number of optic nerve fibers is 1.2 million. Thickness of optic nerve fibers is 2 to 10 micrometer. Length of optic nerve is 47 to 50 mm and it is divided into 4 parts. Number 1, intraocular, that have 1 mm length. Number 2, intraorbital, that have 30 mm length. Number 3, intracanalicular, that have 6 to 9 mm in length. And number 4, intracranial, that have 10 mm in length. Horizontal diameter of optic chiasma is about 15 mm. Antero-posterior diameter of optic chiasma is about 8 mm. Height of optic chiasma is about 4 mm. Visible light of electromagnetic spectrum is 400 nanometer violet to 750 nanometer red. Extraocular muscle insertion distance from limbus to medial rectus is 5.5 mm. Extraocular muscle insertion distance from limbus to inferior rectus is 6.5 mm. Extraocular muscle insertion distance from limbus to lateral rectus is 6.9 mm. Extraocular muscle insertion distance from limbus to superior rectus is 7.7 mm. Extraocular muscle insertion distance from limbus to superior oblique is 16.3 mm. Extraocular muscle insertion distance from limbus to inferior oblique is 18.4 mm. Center of rotation of the eyeball in primary position is 13.5 mm behind the apex of the cornea. Angle between the axis of the eyeball and the orbit is 23 degrees. Number of glands of cross in the upper fornices is 40 to 42. Number of glands of cross in the lower fornices is 6 to 8. Number of glands of wolf ring in the upper tarsal plate is 2 to 5. Number of glands of wolf ring in the lower tarsal plate is 2 to 3. Distance of puncta from upper inner canthus is 6 mm. Distance of puncta from lower inner canthus is 6.5 mm. Diameter of lacrimal canaliculi is 0.5 mm. Length of horizontal canaliculi is 8 mm. Length of vertical canaliculi is 2 mm. Rate of secretion of tears is 1.2 ml per minute. Refractive index of tears is 1.35. Normal pH of tears is 6.5 to 7.6. Horizontal length of palpebral fissure at birth is 18 to 21 mm. Horizontal length of palpebral fissure in adult is 28 to 30 mm. Vertical length of palpebral fissure at birth is 8 mm. Vertical length of palpebral fissure in adult is 9 to 11 mm. Length of lacrimal sac is 15 mm. Capacity of lacrimal sac is 20 microliters. Length of nasolacrimal duct is 12 to 24 mm. Diameter of nasolacrimal duct is 3 mm. Length of levator palpebrae superioris muscle is 40 mm. Length of tendon muscle is 15 mm. Number of meibomian glands are 20 to 30 in each lid in a single row. Number of glands of G's is 2 glands associated with each cilia. Hypermetropia at birth is 2.5 diopter. Normal blinking rate is 12 to 20 times blink per minute. 1 mm changes in axial length gives 3 dioptric powers. 1 mm changes in radius of curvature of the cornea gives 6 dioptric powers. Dark adaptation time is 20 to 30 minutes to obtain its maximum. Light adaptation time is 5 to 10 minutes to obtain its maximum. The teeny depression in the center of the foveola is called Umbo. The amount of melanin in the front layers of the iris gives the eye color. I hope this video would be helpful for you. If you like the video, please don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Please do remember to check your vision yearly and see the world clearly.